Friday afternoon, everyone. For a second, I had to go through my head and recall that it was Friday. It's been a long week. Actually, I still feel like it should be Tuesday or Wednesday for me.
Yeah, it feels like Monday just carried over for the whole week for me.
Yes, I've definitely been there. It's wow, bang, it's the weekend already. I hope the next week goes like that.
I hope not.
Well, let's get out of the summer. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But we are here with Richard Paolinelli, and a great author. I think you came a runner up for an award, Dragon.
I was a finalist for Best Sci-Fi Novel in 2017 for the Dragon Awards, and that's probably the best honor I've gotten so far.
Extremely nice. And can you tell us a little bit about your books? I know you have several of them out there.
Oh, I have many and many more coming, but yeah, the ones that are out there, the one we're talking about was Escaping Infinity, and it broke every rule you could break, and deliberately so. And apparently, it it struck a nerve with everybody because a lot of people have been very complimentary about it. They've loved reading it. They keep asking me when the sequel's coming, and I'm like, when I can clone myself, maybe I'll get that one out. But I'm mostly science fiction. I've written When the Gods Fell, Maelstrom. I've gotten into the Starquest universe that another great author, John C. Wright, has started. And oddly enough, John's books have not come out yet. I actually beat him to the punch, and I've got two of mine out before he got any of his out. But that's okay. He actually was going back to rewrite, and this incredible universe he has built, and did so deliberately so that authors could step in and join in at any point during this 12 ages of StarQuest that he created. And so I found a nice little home in the fourth age, and I've gotten Galen's Way and Galen's Blade written in those. And I'm hoping John's books will be coming out hopefully by the end of the year, maybe the first of next year. And then you'll kind of get an idea of the grand universe he has built, and he's writing in 12th age. I know there's a couple of other authors who are poking around in some of the other areas, so it's an amazing space opera series to be a part of. And like I said, I found a nice little home there in fourth age, so I've been writing that. I've got some mystery thrillers out. I mean, I think my old business partner once said it was with Richard, it's have genre will travel, and I pretty much that's true for me. I'm not really afraid of writing in any area except for maybe romance. I haven't gotten into that yet.
Well, there's several different types of romance, so
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can actually add a little bit of romance to any one of the books, and it's
I
just
I have a little bit in every book I write. I always have that little element of it, but to write a book that is completely and totally dedicated to that, I don't know if I have that in me or not. So I may stay in my lanes over here and let these other lanes go by.
well, I understand the feeling because I actually went from fantasy to western, and now that was a jump.
I
So
went from sci-fi to western. It
very
was a
cool.
jump. It
It,
was.
you got to balance it out, and that's one of the
Yeah.
hardest things.
But with the space opera I've written, I mean, you can see some Western elements in
Mhm.
the story, especially with the main character. He's the lone gunslinger that travels around. Granted, he's not on a horse; he's on a spaceship. But there's a lot of elements when you get down to it. No matter which area, which genre you're writing in, a lot of the elements are pretty similar. It's just the backdrop and some of the instead of a six shooter, you got a blaster, that kind of thing. So
And the terminology. The
and the terminology,
terminologies, yes, that was one of the big issues.
yeah.
So, if I can ask, what's one of your biggest inspirations in writing? Because everybody has their own story.
Well, it kind of depends on how you want to define inspiration. What inspired me to write the novels when I started back in 2013 was when I started writing them again. was the fact that when I started in 1983, I was a freelance writer, and I wanted to write fiction, but I was picking up some spending money writing these freelance articles, and I wound up writing the first two issues of a comic book series in '86. So I kind of got baptized in fiction finally, but then you go and get married and you got to have a stable paycheck, and so the newspaper industry offered me a full-time job, and I'm like, okay, I got to take this to pay the bills. So I
Mhm.
put fiction on hold for a while. And when I got done with newspapers, I was kind of wondering, well, what do I want to do next? I'm 49 years old. What do I do if I'm not doing newspaper writing anymore? And I picked up a book by Jack McDivitt and loved it. It was Time Travelers Never Die. And I read a couple more books of his. I'm like, hey, this guy's great. I hadn't heard of him before, which shame on me. So I go to check him out, and I find out, okay, he had just retired from his job in the late '80s at the age of 49, and decided to start writing novels, and proceeded to have a great career writing novels. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, if this guy can do it and succeed, then it can be done. Then you can do it too, if you're willing to put in the work. So I decided to give it one more shot. So just his life story and how it kind of mirrored mine inspires me to keep going and to keep doing. And I think with the books I've written, the accolades I've got, I'm now the publisher of a publishing company, which if you had told me this was going to happen 7 years ago, I'd still be laughing at you today. But here I am. So I just kind of I use his life story as an inspiration, but what inspires the actual writing part of it is the fact that I love creating these new worlds and and the people to populate them with. And then I love putting them through situations just to see what they'll do. And sometimes I already know what they're going to do. And then sometimes they tell me, which I know sounds crazy, but that's how writers work. Sometimes
Yes.
our characters will knock us upside the head and go, no, 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 we're going over here now, and
Mhm.
you're welcome to come along. And that's how it works. But so that's kind of the what inspires me is I just love telling stories, and I love having people read them and enjoy them. And that's really why I write.
Now, one thing I would like to ask is, do you ever go to do book signings like at conventions or
You know
anywhere
what?
actually?
I have done a couple. This year, actually the last well with COVID, it's been hard to do
Yes.
anyway. Um, but this last year has not really been conducive to me getting on the road and going to them. I would love to starting next year, start hitting some. I'm looking at some that are a little closer to me. Long distance travel is really bad on me right now, so I have to kind of pick and choose my spots. But yeah, I would love to get back out there and start doing them.
Well, I definitely know that there's, I think about three or four around you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple in Salt Lake City. There's Denver. There's Colorado Springs. I mean, they're within range, so it's something I'm going to look at for next year. Get back in there and at least meet people. I love it. People come up, and even if they don't buy a book, they just sit there and talk for a while. I love that.
Definitely. Uh, like I said, been there plenty of times.
Hmm.
Now, with the publishing company, are you accepting books right now or ideas right now, or are you on hold? Because I do know they.
We've had an interesting last 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, we paused for a while. Um, for those who don't know, our co-publisher Jim Christina passed away back in June, and I needed to just put everything on hold for a while. We were right in the middle of doing some other things. Um, on starting August 1st, we're going to reopen submissions, and you can go to our website, which is tuscanybaybooks.com, click on the submissions tab up in the menu, and just follow the instructions. Starting on August 1st, we're going to be doing just science fiction, fantasy, mysteries, and thrillers. Before we had some other uh, books. We still have some of those for sale, but we're not accepting any more from those areas. for now. That could change in the future, but for now, we're going to kind of narrow the focus a little bit.
Well, one of the other questions I was going to ask is, since you're definitely not doing the conventions, do you have a place where if somebody wants one of your books signed where they can get it?
We are setting that up. That was one of the website changes we were getting ready to do when everything went haywire. So
Mhm.
we're going to set that up. I did have on my old website. Then when we transferred the website to a new host, we lost a lot of that capability, and now it's a matter of going through and putting it all back together. But yeah, we'll definitely have that because I have books here that would love to find a home, and I would dearly love to sign them and send them. So yeah, we'll have that going soon.
Very cool. Now, the other thing we'd like to talk about is we did discuss it a little bit, and it's in the process of getting put back up, but you had a blog going for
Mhm.
science fiction and stuff like that. Can you tell us some about that? And if somebody wants to view it, how they can do it now while that's getting processed and changing?
Well, right now the blog is completely down and the posts are gone. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to recreate what I can no longer find. But what we do have in place is we have a newsletter. I have one for myself, and I have one for Tuscany Bay. And there's on the websites, on the front pages, you'll see uh, areas where you can click to sign up for the newsletters. And there's also areas to click where you can sign up for the blog. So you can follow the blog when I get started back up blogging again. So you'll have both of those options available to you. You can do that right now. That I don't know. I don't know how often I'll be blogging, but I know the newsletter will go out at least twice a month.
And how can they find you at Tuscany Bay? What's the website for that?
TuscanyBayBooks.com is for Tuscany Bay. And for me, you can find me at, instead of trying to spell my last name, which trips up many people, you can find me at sci-fi-scribe.com, which is SCIFISCRIBE.com.
And for our listeners, are there any words of wisdom that you can give them if they want to get into writing?
If you really want to do this, then definitely do this. Get into writing, start writing, write what you want to write. And there will be people, no matter what you do, no matter what you accomplish, because I get them even to this day, and I've been doing this for a while, who are going to tell you shouldn't write, you're no good, don't do it. Don't listen to them. If this is what you want to do, then do it, because we need more voices out there in science fiction and fantasy and in any of the book areas. We need to hear from more people, not fewer people. And it can get discouraging. I've been there. You get hit with some stuff and it hurts, but you got to keep going if this is what you want to do. And the experience that I share with writers was one of the first rejection letters I ever got was back in 1984. It was from a magazine, and I'm not going to name the editor or the magazine, but it was from a magazine, and I submitted a story, and the editor writes back that I had committed a grievous crime against the English language and should restrict myself to flipping hamburgers where I was more qualified. Now, a lot of people first starting out, they would just quit on that. I mean, that would just snap you in half and you're done.
Mm.
I got angry and I posted that letter above my typewriter. I will age myself right now. We started out with typewriters.
Mm.
We didn't have computers. So I posted it on my bulletin board above my typewriter. And that's how I started my day every day, by reading that letter and then started writing, because I was going to show that person just how wrong they were. So I use that letter as motivation. And I would recommend you do that if you're a writer and you get something like that. Don't let it bring you down. Turn it around. Use it as motivation. You're going to show them just how wrong they are, and then get to work and go do it. And I think I kept that letter up for maybe 4 or 5 years before it dawned on me. I can do this. I've proven what I need to prove. I took it away. I don't even know if I still have the thing. I think I threw it away from me. But yeah, don't let other people drag you down if this is what you want to do.
It's very good words. But anyway, everyone, we're going to be heading out here. Y'all will catch me on Tuesday at 11 a.m. on our normal show. And then again, we'll have Comic Conro on Thursday at 6 p.m. And we will have another conversation on next Friday at 4 p.m. And in the meantime, everyone, adios.